Welcome to WAC Basketball Preview Days presented by Hercules Tires. I'm Kendra Sheehan. Seattle U Women's Basketball Program joins us. Head coach Susie Barcombe in her sixth season with the Red Hawks. I'm going to start with the way you ended your season last year on a 5-game losing streak, knocked out of the first round of the WAC conference, but you return 3 of your leading scorers. How do you feel like your team is at in terms of eagerness to get the season started and get back into the win column?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think the way we ended it last year was pretty tough on anyone. I mean, you're going up against a Cal Baptist for a back-to-back game, and then we finish off with losing to New Mexico State. It wasn't a stellar performance by any means at all. I think all of us walked away from that pretty disappointed. I've never been a fan of losing streaks, and I hope we get on a winning streak right away this year, starting out if we can.
Losing can sometimes teach you more about your team than winning. What have you learned about your program through those losses that you can take into the start of this season?
Well, I think for us, we recognize that with our lineup, everybody has to show up every single night. You're not going to win games in the WAC when you have 2 people scoring double digits. I mean, you look at what the top teams are doing. Stephen F. Austin, how many top scorers they have. Cal Baptist, Grand Canyon, UVU, you look across and they have more than 2 people that are showing up every single night. And that's what you just have to have. I don't care what division you're playing, 1, 2, or 3, you have to have that. And so we'll rely heavily on Kinsey and Bree. I think Bree in her second year will be much more controlled and understand her offensive sets, but our bigs have to show up, whether that's Georgie or a grad transfer or a freshman Ramona. And then we need our wings to really be able to knock down some threes and open things up for us on the inside with our bigs.
What has been the biggest area of focus for this team during your first several practices?
Well, I think, the word normalcy is coming out of everybody's mouth. And I don't think we can get back to normalcy, but we can recreate what our normal is going to be. So we've just been trying to go through practice like everything's going to be okay. We've added only 1 rookie this year and then the 2 grad transfers. So we're trying to pick up where we left off, but increase our level of intensity. I have basically all new coaching staff as well. So assigning roles, getting new roles established, getting new forms of communication, and trying to find what our identity was and is. Last year, we didn't really have an identity. I think the goal of many programs was to try getting through the season healthy. We were one of a handful of teams that made the entire season without shutting down for COVID. So we accomplished that goal, but which is an amazing goal to accomplish, don't get me wrong, but we have other goals we want to accomplish as well throughout the WAC, and especially with the new WAC teams. My goodness, we've really increased the level of play with the new Texas teams coming in. So there's a lot of unknowns with that.
Where do you feel like this team is in terms of figuring out your identity? How much has the team bought into finding out who you are as a team?
Well, I think they understand what we need to do and how we need to get there. We've been doing a lot of, it's okay to set a goal up, but what is your goal and how do you get there? You just don't magically appear. So yesterday's practice was a little rough around the edges, as I like to say, but I think what we're going to get from it is a lot of really good film, and then we're going to show them what we're talking about. I think there's a little bit of distance right now with our players' reality and what's really being shown on the floor. So it's typical of October. If I was having this conversation with you October 31st, I would start getting a little bit nervous. But right now, I say I'm probably getting maybe 2 or 3 hours of sleep at night. Maybe in season will come down to 1. I don't know. It'd be great if I get a good 8 hours because we're that good.
Plenty of sleep there.
Yeah.
From the start of practice until now, where have you seen the biggest growth from the team?
I think actually what we've accomplished this year, more so than last year because we couldn't, is that we're bonded, much more bonded. Last year we were all in our individual bubbles and you had to stay in your individual rooms, and we've already had more meetings in person without mask this year than we have of all of last year. Last year, the one time we all got together was on a rooftop at the end of season for our banquet. That was it. We've had already individual meetings. We've already had small group meetings, team meetings, individual film meetings. So they're getting to know each other way better than they were last year. And we're finding out who are going to be our leaders as well.
And who has stepped into that leadership role?
Interesting enough, it's two of the grad transfers. I think Barb and Ed, I think it's just their maturity piece as well. Barb and Jaden both come from University of Hawaii, so they already are comfortable with each other, and they have really strong voices out on the floor. I think some of our super seniors, we have a lot of super seniors and seniors as well that are showing different types of leadership, whether it's shooting with maybe a sophomore, putting in extra work, those types of things. Courtney Murphy is always in the gym. So I think we're moving along in the right direction.
Besides leadership, what else did those two grad transfers from Hawaii bring to this team?
Yeah, well, Jay was a starter for them. And so Hawaii played a little bit of a dribble drive, which is somewhat similar to what we'll be running a little bit. And then Barb just brings us a big presence on the inside. If anybody watched her games last year, you saw that we struggled with the big post player at Grand Canyon and Josie and of course CBU. So we needed to bring in a little bit of a bigger force on the inside. So we're hopeful that will help shore up some of those shortfalls we had last year on the inside post play.
Shooting from a distance, an area for improvement this year. What have you been doing in practice to improve in that area? And how do you feel like your team is at shooting from a distance?
Yeah, 3-point. If you can't knock a three down in our offense, we're going to struggle all season long. So we thought we were set quite a bit last year with our 3-point shooting, and then we had injuries. So, you have to practice. You have to have the confidence. So we're not only doing tons of shooting drills, but we also do game-like shooting drills and pressure shooting, competition shooting. So it's not just getting in the gym and just getting shots up. You've got to get in the gym and get the shots up under game situations, or we will do a shooting contest at the end of practice when they're really tired, so they understand how to score when they're exhausted. So we have to knock shots down from the outside. I mean, that's who it is. And look at the stats across the board of the WAC. You're going to see that we need to be shooting in the high 30s from the 3-point line for sure.
What do you like about the depth that you see on this roster?
Well, we do have everybody returning, so and it's experience as well. So I like where our sophomore class is right now. You can call them sophomores, you can call them, I don't know what we're going to call them, COVID redshirt sophomores. I have no idea, but our sophomores are showing up a little bit more. Peyton and Irina played big time minutes for us last year, and both came back ready to contribute quite a bit more this year. And have been doing well. So, you have that in your sophomore. You have Courtney, who is a senior. You have Kinsey, who is a super senior. Bree, senior. So Haley, senior. Hopefully they're going to bring the fact that you know how to grind through a season. Last year, when you had an off night by one, you maybe only had one other to put in. And so this year, I'm really hopeful that if we're not hitting on this cylinder here, let's go with this sub over here. So I hope it creates competition, but competition where you're really happy for the other individual if you're not going great and they come in and go great for us.
Coach Barcombe, thank you so much for speaking with me. I'm going to hand it over to Michael, who's going to allow the rest of the media to ask you some questions. Good luck this season. It was great meeting you. Thank you again.
I appreciate your time.